Welcome to the HPARB meeting, and we're going to kick off the meeting by saluting our flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I will accept a motion to accept the minutes of the January 26th meeting of 2023.
Motion to accept the minutes of January 26, 2023 meeting.
Second. All right,
Okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
Good. So correspondence requiring action, 12 Green Street. Let's pass that around.
Okay. I read it before.
I don't see the correspondence.
There it is.
Has everyone seen this?
I have seen it.
Okay. Have you seen it, Megan?
I haven't.
It's about the windows.
Right.
They were approved for some construction back in October, and you guys requested them to come back with a window inventory of
Right, I thought, Zach, were you going to do a site visit with them to look at the condition of the windows? They had some stored on the side that we have pictures for.
Yeah, these are the ones that. Well,
I think you had already
I have one
declared
now.
that
Is that this one? What are we looking at?
We're looking at 12 Green Street.
Oh,
then they're,
no, 12 Green is that project. We all went out and looked at that
Yeah.
some time ago when they were.
it's on the water.
Okay, it's on the Inner Harbor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
They're showing this as proof that those windows were not all original. These are windows they took out and put off to the side. They're Marvin's, is what they're showing us.
Yeah, we
There's
had,
some stickers on
you had,
I saw.
yeah, you had picked 8 windows as being historic. And then when they took them all out, they found that a couple of them were Marvin windows. And that's what that
Ouch.
picture shows. And so they just want to let you know that
Or
There.
good for Marvin's reputation.
So here's the inventory. As Drew said, there were 8 windows in the building's historic core to be restored and reused. One of those 8, 2 of the windows turned out to be replacements from 2011. We have taken detailed photos and revealed the stamp, and that's Exhibit 2. These were the west and centermost windows at the second floor of the south facade. Unless this committee instructs otherwise, our proposal would be to reuse the other 6 windows as designated and directed in the approved drawing, Exhibit 1, but would rebuild these second floor windows to match the other 6 original windows. So I don't see if I have, I don't think I have, I don't have any problem with that.
No.
Historic, so.
Right. Is there any comment or any?
no, they seem to be being very careful about restoring or replicating. They're doing custom replications of the old windows made by hand. So I think they are being very careful.
Okay, is there any other discussion or comments here from the board? So maybe we can take a motion that they, I'll make the motion that they proceed as they've indicated they would here to recreate the 2 windows that are of a 2011 vintage and to match the other 6 windows, which are historic windows. Can I get a second for that?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Approved. So, next one is a continued public hearing. And that's a 207 Madison Street. Application for appropriateness for proposed additions and a swimming pool.
Carlotta, 45 Division Street, for the applicant. We did submit some additional renderings and a letter from me, and I'll just go over the basics of what we've discovered since our last review. The board asked us to consider a couple of things, one of which was pressure treated shingles on the west side of the addition that's closest to the street. And we did consult with Riverhead Building Supply, the contractor, and have confirmed that there is no wood shingle, pressure treated or otherwise, that we could put ivy on that would not void the warranty for the shingles. And so I think, can you pull up the new renderings? So we did a little analysis of all the different permutations that we talked about. And
I can't pull them up here, they have it in front of them.
Yeah.
You want me
That's
to-
fine.
Do you want me to?
no, that's fine. As long as everybody has it, that's fine.
One,
I don't have an extra copy, that's the only,
Oh,
I don't have a copy for
I
myself.
had that feeling.
So I could just borrow it for a minute.
Well, here's a big one if you want to look at the big one.
Here, we share. Beth and I.
Okay.
That looks like a bush. I think they're gonna do like some sort of trellis or something with it, grow on it.
This is,
So what we,
this is nothing. It's just.
Tell us what page you want to start.
okay, well, we'll start on the first page. And as I said, let's just go over the details of it a little bit. We consulted with RBS and the contractor, both of them confirmed there's no shingle that ivy can grow on that wouldn't void warranty. And so the client has chosen to retain the stone wall as proposed. There was also a recommendation to change from the ivy to planted tree instead to camouflage the western addition wall. We consulted with the landscaping company, the landscape that the client is using, and the tree to properly camouflage that area, there's only about 6 foot of space there. And there would not be enough space to ensure that a root system would not damage the foundation. In addition, there's only foliage on the tree for approximately 7 months out of the year, and the remainder of the year the wall would be exposed, which we wanted to avoid. The whole idea was to have this worked in and to have it sort of disappear into a lot of the ivy that already exists on the property. And so we've opted to retain the proposed ivy as part of the application. And what you have in front of you are renderings that were completed by the architect who is here with us again, Javier. And they are just renderings of the exterior in various different permutations, and that also indicate on them what the issue is with the root system,
Ivy on it.
the shingle in that area, and what it would look like with shingle in that area. And as, like I said, we did what the board asked, is we go back and review those things and try to come up with a different option, and unfortunately, we really couldn't come up with a better option. If the board has any questions for the contractor, the client, or the architect, we have them all here at your disposal. I guess the only thing that I would say about it again is that the stone that was chosen for that side of the wall is the same field stone that is used in the foundation and is existing in the existing foundation and is exposed on parts of the property, so that this proposed stone is going to match the existing stone in the foundation, which is historically.
So I just want to ask you the word couldn't or don't want to. You said you couldn't come up with an alternative to your original plan. Is it that you don't want to, or you just really, it's beyond the realm of possibility?
Well, I think the alternatives that the board talked to us about was the possibility of pressure treated shingles, where we could have ivy grow on that. It turns out that if we did that, we would void the warranty on the shingles, so I don't think that that is a reasonable possibility. There's still the opportunity in that instance for, as Ivy does on regular wood shingles, whether they're pressure treated or not, they're gonna lift, they're gonna cause water intrusion, and they're gonna void it's gonna void the warranty on the shingles. So it's not as if we didn't explore every option. We had proposed stone. I don't think that it's that they don't want to do that, or don't want to come up with any other ideas. The board gave us the options that you had
We gave you a
thought that
suggestion.
were.
We
thought
gave
that
you a
might be acceptable
suggestion.
At the last meeting, and we evaluated all of those that are back here.
Okay, so when you're finished, I'll respond.
Okay.
We gave you a suggestion. The idea was we were trying to compromise. And I guess we feel, well, at least I feel personally, that you found reasons to reject our suggestion, but I don't really think you tried to pursue another
I
alternative.
don't think that we found reasons, I respectfully have to disagree with that. I don't think that we found reasons to disagree. I think that the proposed compromises that the board suggested to us, we evaluated the tree again, rather than the ivy. I don't know why the board would prefer that, but the tree would actually result in damage to the foundation. So there are practical considerations for the reasons why we're back here in the same spot that we were last.
Do you not understand what I'm trying to
I do
say? Or
understand
you're
what you
just
say.
trying
Do
to
you
be
not understand what I said?
argumentative? I understand you clearly, okay? All right, we asked that you find a way to obscure the stone that you're dedicated to use. And we gave you a suggestion. Doesn't mean that was the entire scope of options there. And maybe we made a mistake by giving you a suggestion. But,
Can I?
excuse me,
Okay, just give them a second.
I'm gonna open this up for other comments from the board. Anybody want to make a comment or?
I'm still concerned with the height of, I don't understand why the addition is just as tall as the original structure, especially since it's in such a contrasting design elements.
The Department of the Interior, very respectfully, the Department of the Interior suggests that the design be very different for an addition to a historic structure.
Yeah, but in this historic district, houses, they don't take up the maximum amount of lot coverage.
This does not take up the maximum lot.
But it takes up just enough that you can't plant a tree.
Well, those are zoning issues, and the zoning code deals with the issues regarding height.
Yeah, but-
regarding mass of the structure and regarding setbacks.
But the Architectural Review Board can override what zoning has approved if it doesn't fit into the character of the historic district, which is where this building is located. So I have to disagree with what the zoning approved for you.
Does this person want to make a statement?
Yes, hi, everybody. It's the same issue regarding the stone and the shingles. We like your suggestion of like bringing a line like the stone, make both volumes, the same alignment. And that's one of the options we show in the renders. But we didn't want to cheat saying that the ivy was going to grow higher, right? We explored then the possibility of planting trees in those little patches. And again, we tried that option, and there's really not space for the foundation to plant these trees. So I was playing with the 3D. It's really very thin area of that volume, what you see from the street. The perspective is very exaggerated, but it's really not much what you see. So I'm happy to bring down the stone if you think that the shingles will make it look like more consistent with the neighborhood. But I cannot guarantee that the ivy is going to grow all the way to the roof. So I wanted to be, to present like all the options here that we can do.
Just for the board's edification, Javier is speaking of the updated rendering on page 2.
Yeah, there's both options.
Lower to ivy.
Are we talking
And
about-
it's on the front page as well, actually,
That's what they're.
on the right-hand side. of the
This?
page, and on the second.
That looks like boxwoods. I mean,
I don't think,
that's not what.
I don't think that.
That is. If
Oh,
you
it is?
compare it to
Okay.
the image on to the left
Uh-huh.
with the lines crawling up the whole
Mhm.
side there.
So then you have ivy just on the front side, is that what it looks like? Well,
Well, it would
On the
also be
right
on the
side?
side, but that other.
No, the ivy,
The updated, photo.
yeah, they can go all around, as long as they have stone supported. And we have done both options. I mean, bringing down the stone all around. Let me just, sorry, I'm trying to open to tell you the page. But there's one option, which is just the basement that aligns with the existing house in the 3Ds, right? This was your suggestion, but the ivy will grow mainly on the stone. So I don't know what is your preference here. If either not seeing the stone, but not seeing ivy, and just seeing the shingles that will match the main house, or keep the existing stone level, but that will be covered with ivy. So I guess the question for you is like, you prefer seeing ivy there, or you prefer seeing like a volume in the same shingles of the main house?
All right, so just to make sure, at least I understand what you're saying page 2, in the example on the right-hand side, you have what looks like shingles coming down the facade of this house. And then behind, and then in front of those shingles in the foreground, looks like it's some sort of privet hedge or ivy or something there.
Ivy on.
It's proposed to be ivy on stone.
Ivy on the stone,
Yeah,
Because the stone is there.
okay.
This was last 2 weeks ago option because we wanted to make that disappear following the previous meeting advice, right? So that's why we wanted to grow the ivy. This is our first preference. So that blends with the nature, right? With the landscape. Second option is bringing down the level of the shingles, aligned with the stone. This is what you mentioned 2 weeks ago. And but then the ivy won't be able to grow all that wall, so mainly the stone. So that's what we're presenting here, those two options.
I'm not understanding why you're being faced with the options of more or less. To me, that's kind of the tail that's wagging this dog.
It could be a privet hedge,
Because
it could be a lot of things.
there's just some assumptions that this board doesn't need to make. It's not like, oh, we have to choose between, you have to choose between stone and ivy. To me, the massing and the materials of this proposed addition have from the start been difficult to justify. This is a 1.5-story wooden house, what it is. And since it's in the district, as you mentioned, the objective is to design something which accommodates, your needs, but does not overwhelm the existing historical building. That's a major tenet. And I think the Secretary of the Interior's standards have been misrepresented here by saying that an extension or addition to a historical house must look this different from the existing structure. Nowhere in the standards of the Department of the Interior, of which there are 10.
Yeah, but I think
I'm not done. Or
last week.
suggest that, what is suggested is that any addition be designed in such a way that it's harmonious and compatible. And this goes to materials, it goes to massing, it goes to color and design. And it is true to say that the extension should look different enough from the existing building so that it's distinguishable, but not that it is a radical departure in terms of design material from what's existing.
Yeah, that's
not harmonious, and that's not.
because I think we spent like an hour and a half trying to get all of us to an agreement, right? And I think all of us, after 1 hour and a half, and I saw the meeting like 10 times, was to change that wall. And that would be the thing that made us like be all happy here. So why are we starting from the beginning with this conversation? I thought that's what we did last time, like again, for 1 hour and a half. So I was super open to receive any suggestions, but right now that was the suggestion. So this is what we're presenting. So why now we're taking a different path here? So I just don't understand the logic of this, this conversation right now. And I'm asking because I want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing this time. So what is the right thing to do? What is, because we come to something very specific and it doesn't seem to work right now. And I'm very confused. I don't know.
Make the house smaller.
I understand that part, and I don't want to disregard your comment. I understand that, but I also, there is like a legal square footage, and this is for a client that wants a house that wants to use, again, as I explained like 2 weeks ago, wants to use in a way that you can use in 2023, meaning this is a place in Sag Harbor, this is a summer house, it needs some sort of accommodation, some sort of spaces. So we need that space, which is also legally allowed. So why, in that case, they allow a legal square footage that then we cannot pass through landmarks? I just want to
Because
understand.
this is a historic district. That is why. Because this is a historic district, and that is where your client's
Okay,
house.
So what is the percentage of that square footage that I can use to get?
I don't want to argue about the size because the board can argue about what they want, but I just want to keep it focused on what's under the board's purview as far as similarity with what Zach was saying. I'm going to go volume, gross floor area, height of the building and roof. We're on the right track there. As far as arguing about what's modern or not, or what's appropriate for the village in that area or not, we're just going off on a tangent here where we have to stay focused on dissimilarity. So that seems to be where the board is going. I just want to keep that focus there. So if we're not going to get anywhere in this back and forth, I just don't want to continue it. So if we're going to have if we're going to have a disagreement on what the size is, then we're going to have a disagreement on the size. So that's within
Right,
the
it's just,
board's rights.
I think that everyone is a little surprised at that comment because we spent a long time, as Javier said, an hour and a half discussing pretty much everything about the project. And got to the point where the remaining issue was really the material on that wall and what was going to be used to camouflage that wall. And that was our understanding as we left that meeting last time. So I guess that's why we're all sort of saying, how are we back at the very beginning of the application when at the last meeting we talked solely about, or ended the meeting solely talking about how high the ivy was going to be, how high the stone was going to be, and what was going to camouflage that volume from the roadway. So we're going to go back to the beginning.
Yeah, so let me
I think
just,
that's why we're confused.
let me just, I suggest a plan and then the board can make their decision on the next steps. One is, if we want to revisit going over size and massing as something that should be reconsidered, then make that suggestion. We're gonna have to come back again. Or consider the update that came in yesterday or 2 days ago. And then that's not essentially close the hearing, but end the conversation and we'll table this for consideration for decision at the next meeting.
So first of all, in all due respect, let me say this, part of that hour and a half was you taking us for a romantic tour of architecture in Italy. That was 1,000 years old,
It's
right?
really unnecessary.
No,
Really
please,
unnecessary.
no, wait a second, he's taking it in good spirit.
I know.
Please, so just don't hold our hands here. So what we're trying to do, and what we see as our responsibility, is for, as Megan said very clearly, is for scale and scope and things to blend in harmoniously, right? We tried to reach an accommodation with you. We don't I will speak for myself and probably I can guess for Megan, we don't think we've reached it yet. So maybe your suggestion is a good one, where we should table this and think about this and come back. Let's break this down and talk about what we're comfortable with and what we're not comfortable with, so we can be very clear for the next meeting.
I
Okay,
would have appreciated the last meeting,
okay.
but okay. It does, understand something, this costs applicants, clients, people, hundreds of thousands of dollars to continue to come back here after the board changes their mind and decides all of a sudden, after we've made, we've done analysis on the property, we've made changes to the architecture, we've come back, we had a conversation about the facade and what the form that was gonna be seen from the road and how that was gonna be camouflaged, and today we're going completely down a new road where we have not gone before.
This is.
I was
not a new
very,
road.
I was very
No,
clear
not
the last
She was
time.
very clear, understanding that.
And
Ms.
just
Toyle,
completely
though I
ignored.
completely disagree with where her jurisdiction is. I understand her position. and-
Well, then.
Just read the code.
I disagree with it.
So let's be clear.
Read the code.
The 5 people sitting here at this
I
table.
have. That's what I've been doing all week.
Stop.
Leave this here.
Stop,
This has nothing to do with you personally, nothing.
stop, Megan,
Come on,
stop.
the 5 people sitting on the table here are the only people in this room not making money tonight. Okay, so we value, so we value our time too. All right,
I understand.
so this
exactly.
is something that we feel very strongly in, the fact that we're extending this conversation, we feel very strongly about. Okay, so I'd like to hear from the board members what they think about this, where we are, what needs to be readdressed or reconsidered, if anything, or not. We'll go through the entire board to hear comments. Who wants to start? We've heard from me. Maybe Chris, you want to?
I think it's difficult when you buy a house like this and you're told that you can build a certain amount of square footage and then come into this board and you can't. But at the same time, I do think the house is too big. I think it does overshadow the original house. I thought we had gotten past that. I thought that, like Ms. Scarlato said, we were going to vote on the cladding of the house. I haven't made a real decision on that yet, but that's all I gotta say.
Well, I would agree with what Chris has said. And I agree about, I felt the same way, that the part of the house that comes out that you can see from the street, we were talking about that's what this was all about, whether it have the wood shingles or whether it have the stone. And then are they gonna grow the ivy over it? Because that's going to keep it so it doesn't look as large from the front.
Right,
That was what I came away with last time.
Judith?
I didn't feel that we had completely solved anything last time. I thought there was a lot of suggestions thrown out and people voicing their likes and dislikes of various materials being used. I would agree with Megan that the addition to the house is, the massing is too much, too big, too much. So if you could think of a way to make it less, well, for one thing, I believe the height of the roof line is exactly the same as the original house. And usually this board requests that an addition be a bit lower, not a lot, but maybe a foot lower than the original house. And that clearly demarks it as being something subservient to the main house. And then my other understanding was that something was going to be done about making the stone part be as low as the foundation. And that because a grade went down a little bit, that would give a little bit more stone, but it wouldn't be any higher than the foundation of the
I
house.
think that's one of the designs.
Yeah, that,
Okay. I have to say that stone is not usually a Sag Harbor material because Long Island is not known for its stone. But that's just an observation.
Jersey Stone.
Megan, do you want to add anything?
These materials wouldn't be as jarring if they weren't so daunting in size.
Okay, I think everybody's expressed themselves well, and I think I don't want to repeat myself, so.
Now just to be, so I'm clear, we've gone all the way around the bend and are back to the house is too big.
Well, what we were trying to do was, I think, kind of compromise with you guys. Because we were trying to say if we could reduce the impact of things that projected mass. If we could reduce the sight lines where it protrudes out on the side, we were trying to work with you in that direction. Unfortunately, because of the materials, that's not achievable now, of course. So we just, I think, give us a chance to talk about this among ourselves. We'll do it prior to the next meeting. And so I go ahead.
I would just suggest to the board that it's not permitted by law for you to discuss it amongst yourselves, not in the public eye.
Okay, so we'll discuss it at the next meeting in the public eye. I stand corrected.
I just don't want there to be anything weird going on.
What weird.
No, it's all right.
No, it's fine.
So is the board's position, I just want to be, because again, our purview is the similarity or inappropriateness design relating to volume, to length, width, breadth, gross floor area. I believe that's what the board's getting at. Is it accurate to say the board's position is that right now it's position to the homeowner is that it's too big, but the volume, the length, the width, the breadth of the extension along with the gross floor area is too big right now? Is that where we are?
Well, let's not forget what both Judith and Megan referred to, which is the roof height
Okay.
being subservient to the original structure. Okay. Because we did discuss that. We did ask you about changing the pitch of the roof and
The
yeah,
pitch of the roof is very different.
No, the
Well,
height, we're talking.
change
height.
the pitch to achieve a lower profile of the roof.
The roof pitch.
Originally.
Original.
Ridge line, yeah.
Okay, so anyway, so I think maybe we should table the discussion and address this at the next meeting. We'll set aside some time for that and we can address that at the next meeting. Is that, can I get a second on that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. See you soon. Okay, so now we're going back to old business. And that is 55 Howard Street. Is there somebody to represent 55 Howard Street?
Don't believe anybody's here.
Okay,
Again,
Doesn't look like.
I know, it's like
That's been
months.
since last summer.
have we
Yeah.
tabled this twice or three
Yeah.
times? I think three times we put him back at the end of the agenda, right, or something?
Yeah,
Is this number three?
Oh, I think it's.
Okay, so we're gonna
more
table
than
this.
three.
We had them go back to ZBA, so
Howard Street, we're talking about?
Howard Street, yeah.
This feels like it's been forever.
It has been.
Yeah.
So table, so let's remove it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
so
If they don't show up, they just don't get immediately.
yeah,
We brought them to
No, a few
ZBA, they're allowed to
times,
go back
yeah,
and
like
forth, but if you
twice.
guys wanna remove them, remove them.
Remove them.
okay, so
Their porch.
I move that we, yes, that we remove them from our agenda until they come back, until they reapply, or whatever.
I mean,
Did I get a second?
second,
Second.
All in favor? Okay, 21 Lincoln. Is there anyone here for 21 Lincoln? Okay, I'm gonna suggest that we second call this by the end of the meeting. Can I guess a second on that any motion?
second,
All approve? Aye.
aye.
Oh, who's next? 59 Glover. Is anyone here for 59 Glover?
there aren't two.
Hello, yeah, I'm on Zoom.
Okay, so you want to take us through Glover Street, please?
Yeah, so we're just coming back. We submitted some supplemental imagery for the main house, which we will be formally submitting for public hearing for next month. We just got through Harbor Committee last week. So this garage is still separated as an application, but we did supply the house renderings just as a reference point. You should have those. I can also share. Oh, I can't share. I think you have everything in front of you, hopefully.
Introduce yourself, please.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm Marcus Zemke. I'm the architect.
What's your name? Marcus.
Zemke, Ziemke.
So I just want to get this, understand this. that you are just applying to the garage still. You're not applying to that.
That's correct. We just wanted to,
Says residence and garage.
Yeah.
But so you guys wanted to see what it was, right?
Okay, there it is.
So
It is
that's-
residence and garage.
So
All right.
Last time we saw the garage, but we said, how can we rule on a garage and we don't know what the house is gonna look like?
right.
So now this is what the house is gonna look like, but they only want to know if we like the garage, I believe, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're
Change
basically,
one line.
we separated them because we were stuck in harbor committee for a while with the main house. And the garage, which we're proposing, which is compliant without harbor committee review, we separated out. And so we supplied the house renderings as just supplemental, so we could get the garage kind of up and moving.
Well, the house has to be reviewed. What do you mean?
You're looking for approval for the garage.
Right.
And we wanted to say, okay, well, let's see what the house is going
Right,
so are you're not going for the residence right now? You submitted to residence.
We're gonna submit the residence for next month because we've just finally got through harbor committee. This is just for the garage.
So let's do both of them at the same time, if you don't mind, so we can do it contextually.
Yes.
Well, we were hoping to get the work done for the garage before, sooner rather than later, because the main house is kind of has been caught up with harbor committee. And so we provided those renderings just as an aid as requested. But the garage is its own application.
Our point is that in the meantime, it could be changed. Like we can approve your garage. I'm not saying that you would or you wouldn't, but I'm not comfortable approving a garage without approving the house at the same time. That's.
Yeah, no, of course, we did
we
bring
have
the full submission in front of you last summer and did get, I think, an agreeable approval from everybody, but we're waiting for harbor committee and that's taken 8 months. And so as things have gone, we're just trying to get a portion of this going for the client who has requested that we try to get construction started on the garage so that they can have that work done
If the house has to go through
right away.
And why wouldn't we just
You-
approve the garage
Because
though?
it may not get approved and then the design gets changed and now it no longer looks like the.
Well,
garage.
we're not gonna change, the house is gonna, we're not gonna change the house. I mean, we're separating this out because of the necessary steps you're all obviously aware with harbor committee.
Well, what is the holdup with harbor committee?
The main house itself, which is within their jurisdiction, has been under approval since June of last year. And the clients are just trying to get this garage built,
No,
which
that's
does not
not
fall under their
But
purview.
answer my question, why are you in front of harbor committee for 8 months?
What is the whole?
What's the holdup?
Well, we've just finally made some headway last week at the review last week. It's just taken a long time. They've asked for information. We've provided it. It's just a lot of back and forth.
I don't know, a garage is a very small element of this project, so I don't know how a 2-week delay would make any difference. We'd like to see everything in a complete set here.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
we yeah, well, I mean, we brought the renderings to your attention because they were requested, and we were hoping that would be helpful. We're trying to keep it separate because they would just like to begin construction on the garage for their own personal purposes, and we're hoping not to have to wait another few weeks to months, depending. Because we do have to get pull our wetlands permit still and then get our building permit. So these may very well be 2 to 3 months apart. And so if we can get ahead on just this garage structure, which is really important to my client, we would really appreciate that approval.
I think that if we approve this garage design, it's going to affect, even if your house design just has to change. The way that your garage looks is going to affect how the house has to look. So I don't see a reason not to approve the garage and then approve the house, because the house has to go through approval.
Yeah.
So if they
Yeah, they're very much
decide they
meant to
wanna,
speak to one another.
But what if they end up not building a house?
then
I
that's
don't know, I'm
a
just suggesting.
the small house on a big lot.
There's a little garage sitting there.
An ADU, right?
Well, there's
Then I can live there.
Yeah, we could all have. Nothing wrong with the garage, it's just that
That's
it's
my-
supposed to relate to the house and.
Right, but that's what I'm
House is not
saying,
gonna-
as long as
Okay,
they know
so-
that
so-
it will affect the
Yes,
approval of the house.
right.
So, okay, I know that,
Yeah.
I know I have somebody here who's not a fan of shingles, of shutters.
Oh, well, it depends.
Okay, so, this really is confusing as to what the urgency is here.
It's the client was hoping to have the garage constructed sooner, honestly, so that they can park their car in there. And they've been hoping to get this for some time. And we've just been caught up in Harbor Committee, and so we decided to separate this application a couple months ago for that reason. And we're just trying to make a bit of headway, and keep things moving as much as possible.
My only note is that, I mean, you'll have discretion to look at that design, but I understand where you're coming from. I just want to make a note of that. I have some discretion if this is approved now or the next meeting, but I understand when I see the whole application, so it's board's discretion.
Bethany would like to see the whole application. Do we have the whole application in terms of scope of work and stuff?
It's just the rendering.
Yeah, the rendering right there was,
That's it?
Right,
and that's what's in
Oh,
front
there's
of the
that,
Harbor
that
Committee.
big fat thing.
but we
This
don't
thing?
have like, you had the
We have
application that you applied with,
This
and you put everything about the house and the garage. I mean, normally, this is all being newly built.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
An empty lot where it is right now.
No, there's an existing house from the 90s, which when we talked last July, we talked about it not being contributing.
House in
general,
or the design of the house.
So you're tearing down a house from the 90s and replacing it with this one.
That's correct, and we're receding a bit from the water line
Why should your board?
as much as possible. But yeah, that's the gist of it.
Mhm.
So now you've gone from the historical part of us to the ARB side of this real life, right? So we're the HOA for the village, right?
Yes.
So let's see what we have here.
Yeah, as Zach was saying, the only thing that goes against my argument is that if they make you cut that house down to half the size or push it back 40 feet, I mean, it could cause use. But then again, that's their problem.
That becomes a problem that's visited on you guys because now we have a problem. And we need to fix it.
This
You
is
know,
not one we
it's
can
a
give
self-created-
conditional approvals on. Like, we can't say, if the house is approved this way, then you're okay with the garage, you can start building.
Yes.
Right, we can't say that now.
But if compromises are made with another committee and then that comes back as a design dilemma here, now.
All right, so let's just ask them to come back with the full.
Yeah, I think that's what we have to do, because the truth of it is, you presented a site plan here, but the site plan is subject to Harbor Committee approval, right? So you might
No,
change the location of the house.
It was determined that the garage does not fall within their jurisdiction, which is why we separated the application and reviewed it a couple weeks ago with you. Was because we're stuck in a very long waiting period with what is under their purview, which is the main house. We can come back with our full submission. I would just ask for your consideration only because we are so many months behind on making any progress here. And what we showed you back in July is exactly what we're showing you now. We have no goal of changing anything. We're just trying to make some progress because it's been a very long road of waiting for a different department. So we would really appreciate this consideration tonight and just
Terry,
consider it.
Terry, was there an application made or was it a discussion item?
You guys, They were in front of you, a discussion, and you just said.
Oh, okay, discussion, not an, so there has not been an application on the house. That's, I just wanted, okay.
Any comments from the board? Hmm?
I say, I think you know, but
Any motions from the board?
I'll move to table.
What are we tabling?
We're tabling the application for the garage until everything is done.
Okay, so the only issue probably, how far are you with the harbor committee?
8 months.
I would love to say I had an answer to that question ever for anybody, but I don't know. I would hope in the next few months, which is what I've been saying for a few months. So I don't have a total answer on when you'll see a full submission. Which is again why we pulled this application out, is because we're just trying to make some progress on this property for the client.
So there is a question as to whether you could, there is a question, and I think what Zach is what I'm hearing. Can you build a garage on a piece of property and there's no residence there? In a residential district? I wonder.
That's a legal question.
Yeah.
Well, you're building.
Wait, sorry, what's the?
It,
Mm-hmm.
before it comes in front of you, and he interprets the code.
Okay.
It's been in front of building already, so.
Hmm?
They hypothetically build, or take down whatever garage is there, if there is a garage, you hypothetically replace it, that's why it's here. And it's outside of harbor, so that's why it's, you can consider it houses too, even though we all know that's going down. It's a bit of a gray area. I mean, it's clear that you can consider it, but it's also within your purview to want to consider the whole project as well, so. Not so straightforward. But it is okay, it is rightfully in front of you.
Okay.
Okay. So comments, Megan, you want to say anything?
I don't know. I mean, if everyone feels perplexed at it, I feel perplexed as well.
Judith?
It doesn't bother me that much that they want to build a garage and then later build the house. But people keep bringing up very good hypothetical things that could go wrong. So I think just to keep it neat, I would say don't build a garage until you can show us the house too.
Bethany, you agree?
I agree.
And Chris?
May I say one last thing?
Yes.
Just, I mean, I think, you know, we did provide the main house renderings, I think in a bit of good faith, because you were familiar with what we talked about last summer. I'm just wondering if we weren't to build that house at all, but instead just have this garage with the house that lives there today, is it not acceptable under the board's purview?
That's a good question, but I don't know what the house looks like today, to be honest with you. I don't
Yeah,
remember
it's-
from June. But let me just say this. I think if I remember correctly, you did a really good job in terms of changing the look of the scope and the scale of this house, if I'm remembering this case right.
You
And
have a rendering of it, can you pull it up?
Oh, I thought isn't that what you have? I can't share. So
You mean the original house, right?
yeah, I mean,
The house that's there
that
now.
was originally proposed.
Look it up.
The one that's there now, you
The
mean?
one that's there now.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what.
it's a big,
And that's gonna be torn down and replaced by this. And you're
Mhm.
saying this is smaller than the house that's there now,
I don't know.
Think?
Is this smaller than the house that's there now?
the rendering?
but it's a bit larger, but it's all new. We're not using all the existing houses quite close to the water, which we're getting rid of. But I guess just to go back to my question, I'm just wondering if we're just to propose a garage
That's what's there?
on that site and it's
Yes.
conforming.
Get rid of it.
oh, can you look it up?
I don't
Let me
know.
see.
He is.
I think that garage would look
Um,
great.
Oh, I have to, gonna make the house look a little. better.
Is that that house?
Fine.
Yeah.
And
This
there's
is
space
this
on
time.
the plan to
Oh, here
build
we
that
go.
Did you see
garage,
that?
right?
Yes.
No,
That's,
they look
this
very
is the back of it, right?
Yeah, well,
Or what?
faces the
No.
street, so you mean.
No, it's the front.
All right, so there's already a house there. They want to build a garage.
Brill's
Okay.
house.
All right, then let's let them build their damn garage.
We would very much appreciate that stance today. And we will be back with the exact same house as soon as we can to put in front of you. But we would appreciate an
Well,
approval of
when
the
you look
garage.
when you look at what's there now, it's, you know,
Contextual.
this garage would be fine, but it's
Fine.
Right.
with what's there even,
Right.
you
Mhm.
know?
That's,
So I'll take a motion.
So I'm good.
Anyone want to make a motion?
Thank you.
I'll make a motion
pretty good case.
Okay.
for
This is what, this is,
59 Glover, a new garage.
Garage only.
Second.
Garage.
any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
You have your garage.
Thank you all very much.
Good
I
luck.
appreciate it. All right, bye.
Those cars fit.
Okay. Okay. 55 Lincoln is next.
We have paperwork to do.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Don't see about here for 55 Lincoln. Pickleball court and garage.
Am I the only one who doesn't know what pickleball is?
No, if they're not here, I don't want to look at it. Do you want to look at it?
Well, it is something that falls under a two-person, so. it's up to you.
Well, I don't know. The pickleball court and the garage, I think we need to really discuss that. Today is what, 2/9?
Did they just not?
This is the second time they haven't appeared.
Right, they just haven't showed up.
All right, so I move that we table.
Okay.
I think Chris agrees. Okay. And now we have 41 Glover Street.
So we need a motion for this? Are you doing a second call for this?
Yeah, we'll do a second call. 41 Glover Street. Is anyone here for 41 Glover?
This, they removed.
They removed? Okay, great.
Oh, again.
20 Meredith Avenue. Is anyone here for 20?
But the application.
Anyone here for 20 Meredith Avenue? Okay, well, second call.
That's a swimming pool. Do you want to, that could be a two-person. Do you want to review that?
Yeah, let's just look at it.
Okay,
Is it the
Do we
one
have
that
it?
we looked at today?
no, we,
It's a different one.
did you look at, you guys work
Yeah.
together today?
Yeah, we looked
Okay.
at another swimming pool.
There's somebody. Who's this?
Hello.
Oh, hi.
You really can't hear us.
Like an architect, like his library.
You can
Oh,
hear
yeah,
us.
yeah, yeah. Okay, I know.
What are you here for?
Hello.
Hello?
Hi, I'm here for 18 Princeton, which I think is next.
Okay, great. What are you with you?
Okay,
19 Princeton.
this is
This is 20
20
Meredith.
Meredith,
All right.
and it's for a swimming pool.
So don't you have to look at fences and all kinds of stuff?
Yeah.
Or is it
Where's
just a
the-
pool?
It's a pool, but we don't have a landscaping plan. Good point. Thank you.
Yeah, that
Oh,
that was the same
I mean,
thing that we.
Yeah, this shows whatever
Well,
those
this
things
will
are
show
going
you.
around the edge, but
Got it, yeah.
Okay, I know the property.
Yeah, that they have an architect for a pool, so no.
Okay. So,
can we see that? too,
yeah,
please?
let's pass this around.
You're supposed to have 3 copies of everything.
Approved, 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 approved.
I think we could
Yeah,
prove
we
it,
did.
but he didn't.
Yeah, I know the
I see him
property.
pushing on that.
Motion to approve 20 Meredith for the proposed swimming pool.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Can you just sign that paper, I think?
Okay. And the next we're calling is 18 Princeton Road. Is anyone here for 18 Princeton Road?
That's this person.
Can you please tell us your name?
My name is Joshua Key and I'm with Eponymous Architects. Good evening.
Good evening.
We are submitting for appropriateness for some modifications to an existing house. If you go to, I assume, are the drawings are there, correct?
Coming right now.
Here's the, look at that other one.
So sheet A2 shows photos of the existing house. It's an existing single residence. The main house has a second floor and then there's a detached garage, which to the side. If you scroll to, flip to page A6, you'll start to see the proposed changes. The existing elevations are shown at the top and the proposed elevations are shown at the bottom. In general, what we're doing is replacing the windows and the trim on all facades. And then we are proposing a dormer to expand an existing dormer on the rear facade, which is shown on page A7. The dormer keeps the same pitch as the existing dormer, but it grows a little bit.
Not sure. I think that whole thing.
And then we are changing some windows that were on the first floor to large sliding doors, and then making some modifications to some other windows on various sides of the house. The siding will remain shingle. The trim will change from painted to natural cedar. And we'll be replacing the white aluminum downspouts and gutters with painted metal downspouts and gutters as well.
I very much appreciate that this is set up the way it is with your proposed here and the original.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, this is the way we want everyone to do it.
Thank you.
So this is a radical change to the roof line, is basically what you're saying?
On the dormer in the rear, yes, but we are not affecting the roof in the front of the house at all.
Yeah, it almost looks identical.
All right.
Yeah,
And this is
so
not a historic
all this
house.
is new.
This is,
It's not in the historic district.
This is not a historic
This is
district.
Redwood, right? Yeah.
Redwood, yeah.
Any questions, any comments?
I think this is a nice design.
I agree.
Okay. We've got two yeses. How about you feel?
I think it's pretty respectful and nice.
And Chris?
same.
Okay, I'll take a motion.
To approve 18 Princeton Road.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, while we're waiting, is there anybody here for 19 Grand Street? Anyone here for 19 Grand Street? Please identify yourself. Are you here for 19, sir? Yes.
I'm the next one. I was just getting queued up. I'm from
Okay.
18 Soundview.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody here for 19 Grand Street? All right,
I emailed everybody, I didn't hear back from a lot of people, so.
all right, so we're gonna table this. All in favor of a table, aye. Aye.
I,
Okay. 18 Soundview. Please identify yourself, sir. Hi.
Sure. William Shapiro. I am the attorney for the owner of the property, 18 Soundview LLC. I also have on the Zoom call Dan Paul from Land Use, who's been helping us with this application. But I'll be the one primarily speaking tonight.
ZBA and,
this is the one we looked at.
yeah. They have ZBA and Harbor Committee people.
So after the time that I submitted the application and between then and today, we did get the written approval from the ZBA. So I do have the actual written approval from the ZBA. We have a tentative approval from the Harbor Committee. They're just waiting for some calculations on a planting plan. They were very close, without words in their mouth, they were very close to issuing condition approval last time there. So they just wanted to see these calculations before they would issue.
I don't have it. It seems to be all there is.
This thing that I'm holding here is 18 Princeton.
Right, we just approved that. So what we're looking for is 18 Soundview. And that's 18 Soundview, it's very little here. So, sir, we have about
Oh,
four.
wait a minute, where's this?
Okay,
No plans? Or is it just the pool?
There is just a pool, but there's no landscape to show it.
Yeah, we don't know what kind of privacy and so forth.
Oh, sorry.
that's all right. Exhibit A.
There you go.
So,
How high above sea level are they? I mean, how's he gonna get a pool in there? They're right on the water. Oh, is that what it is? They're going in the deck?
See, this is I guess we're doing this to the land side. It's probably shallow.
In one of the exhibits, I believe it's Exhibit B, it's the sectionals from land use. You'll see a note that no water was encountered 17 feet plus from the existing grade per McDonald Geoservices in March of 21.
Yeah.
So, sir, this is,
How high above?
in this case, we need to get some greater perspective, okay? We need to know, we need to look at the survey. Is the survey here? I don't think so.
There's a site plan. I believe I attached it as Exhibit C.
Ah,
Is there a,
Just grabbing-
I don't seem to see, I have a C, I have a B, Exhibit B.
is there a survey?
Here you go. It's under,
There'll be a test hole on there.
the kind of questions you're thinking about, is like Chris would have answered or no?
Yeah,
Yeah. And how about the,
it's more of a curiosity thing.
oh, okay. How about, landscaping?
Yeah, I think, look, we can
Oh,
see the
here it is.
perspective with the is the landscaping plan there.
No.
Not really, no, it's a survey.
So we're On the point of the landscaping plan, we're just making some minor tweaks to the final plans. I'm happy to submit them once I have, should be in the next couple of days, I think.
I think,
Why don't we approve them upon viewing of their landscape plan?
Because Chris could approve that, right? I mean, if it meets,
landscaping plan?
couldn't he? I mean, in terms of,
I don't think so.
No, I think it's, no, we're supposed to do that. So this is what we'd like you to do. If you could send us, you know, a landscaping plan with your plantings, et cetera, et cetera. We'd also like to look at the perspective because we can see this lot sightlines to your neighbor's backyard, right? So the thing is to obscure the pool so that you have privacy and they have privacy. So I guess we're talking about some fencing or some tall plants. And
Okay,
so that on top of a survey, so we can get a full perspective. But we should be able to do this next meeting, if you can get
Okay.
us the materials.
We like the landscaping plans and the survey.
I think the survey's here.
No, that's a
right?
site.
Yeah, it's a site, and it's really based off survey, obviously.
Yes, hi, this is Dan Hall from Land Use Ecological Services. I just wanted to add that there's existing hedge lines going down the property lines right now. But because we're before this is within the wetlands jurisdiction for the village. We're beyond the New York State DEC jurisdiction because the site has a bluff. So we're on top of a small bluff. I mean, the elevation is, above elevation 16 where the pool's gonna be. So yes, the site's on the water, but I think we're clear of any danger of hitting the water with the excavation of the pool. And as part of the wetlands application, as you probably are aware of, sometimes they require buffer planting plans. So that's what we're negotiating with, or actually not negotiating with, finalizing with the Harbor Committee. We have the parameters of that buffer plan, but we're just working on some of the different, make sure that it's acceptable to the village consultant.
Well, thank you. The Harbor Committee tends to focus on the vegetation between the lawn and the water.
Right.
And we're more focused on the vegetation that's surrounding the pool that will screen sight lines and other things.
From the
that-
neighbors.
That's further back from the water. Let's call it the lawn plan.
Yes.
Okay.
So what I was trying to describe was that if I overheard some board members saying that they're at the site today, that there's some hedges on either side of the property line, and that gives privacy in the backyard. We also have pictures of that we could submit to the board if required with the planting plan.
I see some hedges, but.
The hedges are like 4 feet tall.
Yeah,
It's not
that's,
enough.
Yeah, so usually around pools, the plantings are like 12 feet tall or something.
12 feet.
Well,
Well-
how tall? 8 feet?
Basketball.
8 feet, well, okay, 8 feet.
foot's like
6 to 8 feet tall. Okay, so that,
I was there during the growing season, and I was in the backyard. I couldn't see any of the neighbors, but I understand what you're asking for, yes.
the pictures
Okay.
just don't show that, so, thank you. Okay,
Alrighty.
good. So we're gonna table this until we come back and we receive the landscape plans and the survey to show us location. Okay, I'll make a motion that we table this until a further meeting, and when you come back, when you have your plans all ready for us.
a survey and a landscape plan.
Survey and landscape plan. Do I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Thank you, board members. Have a good nice night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And our last,
Oh, my.
and our, no.
Oh, just- no, not so
No,
fast.
not so fast. 101 Hempstead Street. And he's a very patient man here. How
Good
you
evening,
doing?
board members.
Good.
Brian Locassi, Adam Miller Group. I believe I retrained the architect to do Zoom. Actually, we're here for 101 Hempstead Street, not a historic structure or within the historic district. We're looking to do a modest addition to the house, taking an existing enclosed porch, creating a sunroof, and a new addition and behind that sunroof, it's actually set back about 18 inches, so it's not really visible from the street.
There are three, so I'll share
House
with
an office, and then there would be a new roof over existing and proposed structures. The second matter, I have some photos from the property as of today. You can kind of see that from the street, even in the depth of the length of the house is pretty well screened.
This is what it looks like.
This is what it looks like as of this morning. So you can kind of see with respect from the public point of view on the screen. The lot next door has fall mature hedges, so the house will be almost visible with the exception of when you're immediately in front of it in the driveway and as you pass, but there are some trees and hedging in front of the house. It's very minimal increase in the massing, if at all, of the structure and within the store, but
You know,
provide you landscaping details.
I'm confused. What?
I know, it is a little confusing.
Yeah.
They wanted to make sure you knew that it was not in the historical.
Right.
right.
And
Definitely
you did.
Yeah,
Just-
we got that.
just barely
And
outside.
then we're adding on.
So you're rendering, so what's interesting is existing looks like it's a story and a half, 2 stories in some areas. And your renderings look like it's all 1 story.
It's 1 story, yeah.
One story home. You go through about the 5th page of the packet, it shows you the existing conditions of the house. It's a little elevated on the street where the houses are maybe.
There's actual photos of the
It's
existing
the one story
house.
structure. There's no page numbers. Apologize.
No, you have 1.1.
So
1.11.
this part is new, I believe,
Making it look a little more modern.
and that's what it looks like in the front. It's like this thing being added on.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, the specific questions, like I said, Reed Freeman, the architect is here to speak. to
So are you gonna change the roof profile?
We've changed, we're matching the roof profile on, there's a kind of a shed addition on the east side, which has a very low slope. There's some ponding and damage on that roof. They have asphalt shingles on that, which is actually not so good for a low slope roof. So we're changing the material to improve the drainage. And then matching the new metal, it's a standing seam roof. We'll put that on the addition and those slopes match.
So standing seam on the new part, but not on the old part?
No, on the old part too, because the problem is that there's asphalt shingle now on a very low slope roof and it's not draining. There's some ponding and some damage. So
You're proposing a new roof over the whole structure.
yes.
Okay, and the new roof is metal.
Yes, and they're the same. So
Good.
in some ways they're joined together because the slopes match
Mhm.
and in one part.
Oh, you're gonna do metal on that low slope too?
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
That's what you began, but.
That's what I was thinking.
Or cheaper too, but.
Now that everything's worth $1 million.
But this is the new edition.
Yeah, it's a very modest addition of about 230 square feet, but
And then the speed. Size. Is that this?
so on the plan 110, what's labeled as the sunroom is an existing structure. So it's an enclosed fort, and we're proposing to add the mudroom and an office. Essentially, a client uses this side, this south side for entry. And then after COVID, thought it would be useful to have an office.
Yeah,
The
that's the
addition.
addition.
This is the existing street. This is existing. We're repurposing, but it's the same footprint.
This
And then the
addition is,
addition is actually stepped back 18 inches.
and it's flat roof, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. it's-
Well, just
that's-
about.
that's
Low
absolute.
slope, yeah.
Show me which one shows. That shows it sideways. I guess we
That is the
don't,
roof plan.
is this it here?
Yeah, there's an elevation 310, which kind of shows the south elevation, which is probably the, when you're looking.
That's the new part.
Yeah. Okay, I see. It comes down off the,
Right,
Yeah.
and this is the new part,
okay.
and the house is just,
Now
they're
I see
knocking
it.
it out. like that.
Mhm.
That's the new part.
Yep, yep. And that's like the opposite side, right? You know, and this is the
Yeah,
side
yeah,
with the new,
yep,
and this is the
Yep.
the other side of the
North,
house.
south.
I got you.
I don't have any problem.
2 stories. I like how they got the beach grass with
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the raised,
This is quite
yeah.
smart how they
beachy.
teach.
It is beach. Peachy.
Beachy,
Peachy or beachy.
Any thoughts here?
I like it.
Okay,
I do too.
any questions? Megan, how we doing here?
I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it, okay.
That's great, great to hear.
So, you're right, it's not too good. So, I'll take a motion to approve the plans as submitted for 101 Hempstead Street.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Reed.
Okay,
Thank you for your time.
rest of the way. And now, we're going to discussion. Oh, you're still here, huh?
Came later.
This is a discussion. We're doing pretty well.
Maybe I'll get home, my kids will be asleep.
At least you're
That is
getting paid for
what you
this.
really want.
Right.
So take your time deliberating.
So here we have this. Are you ready? everyone?
Yes.
So here we have the construction historic district. We're proposing a small roof dormer in addition to the rear of the house. I actually have, again, photos to kind of give you an idea of. Just what the house looks like here.
Very much.
Oh,
This house is in.
right, cute little house.
I have a photo.
So what you see in the front will remain in the front. We're only talking about the rear of the house. Small roof corner. I believe this has some of the Sean Myers office in correct. So. We wanted to obviously come before you guys to discuss item just to kind of, we understand the importance of the structure. And the way we're trying to propose this in a way to not in any way distract from the viewpoint of the historic structure. We're trying to add some usable space to the house, the applicant's request.
Just out of curiosity, what's the square footage of that house now?
You know that answer?
Is it tiny? Is it?
It's like it's 20 by 25, is that about 500?
22, let's call it 24, 26. Oh no, there's another piece of it.
That's the back. Oh, there's an extension, right, there's a wing off the back.
I could do the math, but I'm just too lazy.
It's all right.
I do not have that information.
Okay.
I will have that for you.
You can have to.
The first floor is 972 square feet.
Okay, well, that includes that back.
Yes, that includes the back.
Yeah. Okay.
That's small.
So it's 18, it's bigger than it looks, it's 1,800 feet.
No, it's not
It's only
a
one
glass
story.
because the rear addition is just a one story addition on the back. And so it would have topped the glass.
I think this is all they're doing.
There you go.
Let's have
Now,
a,
existing and proposed as.
let's get an elevation going here. No, I don't need that one. There we go. There.
So we have it, yeah, you guys are on the right page.
Yeah, oh,
8.3.
I'm on 8.3. It's just, yeah, it's just that. That's the only thing they're doing.
So that's correct. The only dormer, the only change we see is the dormer on the rear side.
On the first floor too, there is a bump out facing the rear in the kitchen.
Oh,
So there's a small bump out.
Very small.
I mean,
you're at, the
Oh,
bump
no,
out
there
is
isn't,
new?
and they added-
We're adding the bump out on the first floor and we're adding a dormer on the second floor.
Okay, and how far is the bump out go? Is that just this?
It's just this, yep. So this is existing.
You can, but only one spot.
right in the middle. Don't stretch.
This here.
That's looking from the rear of the property. So this is looking at this.
Oh, okay,
And
I
this
got
is the side
you.
perspective.
And this is the new, this with all the windows in it is the new dormer?
That is the new dormer, yep.
Yeah.
Which have different roof
Oh, I
and
see.
siding to differentiate it from the
Right, and
historic structure.
this is the bump out?
That is correct, yep.
Yeah, and the roof is standing seam or what?
Yes,
Uh-huh,
yep, same as the addition on the dormer.
right, right.
I think it's beautiful.
Yep. This is an example of respecting the original house.
Well, if you look at the elevation from the back,
Mhm,
the entire dormer sits in about a foot
mhm.
from each of the side walls. So what that kind of translates, if you're standing in front of the house, looking back toward it, that dormer is gonna sit in, you might not even see
I don't,
it.
yeah, I don't think you can. I tried to capture that in the
Yeah.
photo that took with the street perspective. I mean, I can't say you won't see it, but it's definitely gonna be
But,
tucked in with
yeah,
existing.
and that's the
vegetation.
way these have been built
Mhm,
over the years.
mhm.
So you kind of show some issues with the pyramid. You've gone to
That will,
zoning?
no, we'll need a variance, but we want to
Okay.
just get,
Yeah.
make sure that we're appreciating, respecting the house.
Cute little house, and we're glad you're not changing it too much.
Right. You're doing the,
There's two usable bedrooms on the second floor, and this is financial more comfortable.
This is pyramid, so they have all this to do. So this is just discussion. This is just a discussion.
oh, I think it's good.
I think it's great.
So nice to see somebody actually doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And all the characteristics and the historic, no, we're not changing any of those features, so it's.
Mhm.
Dental.
It's just not garage. All right. So does anyone have any constructive criticism or ideas or comments?
I don't have any criticism. I think it's a wonderful job and that you have respected this wonderful Sag Harbor house and doing the right thing.
Ms. Toy?
Agreed. It's a nice little addition, right?
I'll take a motion to approve. Oh, man. All right, yes, thank you very much.
We'll look forward to your application. so-
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, with that, I think we can conclude the meeting. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we're out by 6:30.
This is some sort of record, isn't it?
Yes, this is a record.